Hey everybody, here's another episode of Making Comics here with Eric.
LJ.
Wilson.
How you guys doing?
All right, how are you?
Alright. So this
I
is
know
from
this
actually our webcomic, The Mark. And this was done by J.P. Cheatham, correct?
Yes,
He
he's
did
the
the
artist.
pencils.
And LJ, you're doing, this is you,
I'm
right?
doing the inks on the inks. I'm using Illustrator. Looking at how, because I forgot how I've adopted so many different ways to try inking. I'm doing like straight tools, and it's just there's no set way to digitally ink as far as I know. I haven't found like someone who gave me a definitive answer, because I've looked, because it's just like, how do I do it with this program?
Well, you're completely self-taught, right? I mean, sorry, you're not. You never went to school for inking or anything, right?
I've never yeah, correct.
Yeah, you didn't even go to school to learn the programs.
Yeah.
Basically, was using my computer at first. Here, play around with this. And
Here, keep yourself busy.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it really all started when I ordered my computer. And basically, LJ, could you be home, because I was at work, when the computer came in. I get home, and he pretty much has it all set up.
Liar, you set it up.
I know, I would not let you open that.
I want to see it. I've never used a Mac.
Yeah, at this point, you've never even seen a Mac, right?
Yeah, correct.
And it was just, here's the program. This is what I did. The great thing about Photoshop and Illustrator is one of those, is that the Adobe products is you learn as you go. There was no formal training. I don't even know if you were looking at the books that I had. And I had a bunch of books.
Them.
Yeah.
They did help. But here's the thing. One of the books you had, it's about how to ink in Photoshop.
Right.
So I'm looking at it, and I'm just like, all right, I could see, because I was also inking another work that JP was drawing called A Work in Progress, which I don't know if it's still out there.
Well, a work in progress basically is one of our dead projects. It's on our website and archived. We have a dead section basically.
Okay.
That's also where we have our old podcasts and stuff like that.
So, I was reading this to learn how to ink for that webcomic, and I'm reading it, and I'm just like, okay, this is how, because I already started inking, but I was doing it in such a basic way that it dead air.
It wasn't giving you the results that you wanted.
It was more like it didn't look good at the end. It looked like, it was amateurish, but again, I haven't really started inking at that point. And
now but you have flatted and colored at this point, right?
yes, I already had a working knowledge of Photoshop from coloring, so I'm sorry, I'm looking at it like, what the hell was I doing?
Again, it's an old video. You don't ink this way anymore.
Not.
It's a variation of this.
Yeah.
Because you were teaching yourself as you were going along.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is actually you learning how to ink yourself, right?
More of just trying something different.
Okay.
Because it's more of, if you're not trying something new, then you're stagnant.
Right.
You should always try something new on everything.
Exactly, and what I do is I figure out a shortcut, and I keep using it.
Unfortunately, there's no quick shortcut for Illustrator. But so in this book, it said when you're inking in Photoshop, you should use anti-aliasing. But I'm looking at this also as a colorist who's saying, yeah, but the anti-alias is going to go away anyway when it comes to the colorist anyway. And
what is anti-aliasing?
Anti-aliasing is it makes the edges fuzzy. So it adds a bleed. For if you're gonna print that, it'll print to look like a.
So anti-aliasing,
like the ink is bleeding.
It softens the lines.
Yeah.
Okay.
And coming from the colorist standpoint, we don't have anti-alias on, so
especially in the line art, because it makes it could screw everything up in how we work. So I'm I could skip that part if I just make it solid lines, but it'll also lose something. And then I think Hector Colazzo, he was the one who's just I was trying inking in Flash animation.
Really?
Yeah, because he wanted to know what all the programs could do, and I'm just you can ink in Flash animation? Yeah, it's no different than inking in Illustrator. I'm just I can ink in Illustrator. I have Illustrator. I think I could do that. And that's just where I was going from there.
Now, is this what is this how you currently ink? Because I've seen you've even inked on the tablet as well.
On the
iPad.
On the iPad, it's more. It's inking in it's not controlled because I don't have the right tools for it.
Right.
So, that's more of like a practice. But when I ink now, I don't use the line tools unless I'm doing. I've learned to use the brushes more.
Okay.
Because I was going back and forth at this point between brushes and lines.
Mm-hmm.
The lines can give me crisper images, but when you're working with a person, it really doesn't look natural. And something I've learned from other people is just like nature doesn't have straight lines.
Right.
There's no straight lines in nature, no matter how you work it. So a person shouldn't be just straight lines. Person should have curves. So, it's easier to get that with a free brush tool.
Now, because this is Illustrator and stuff like that, is this what they call like vector-based?
Yes, and it just means that everything is more solid. But when you go into Photoshop, it'll have the anti-aliasing already, and I just have to do a little adjustment because the anti-aliasing isn't so broad.
All right. Now, what's called when you were young?
Just to get. Don't mean to interrupt, but
you're gonna
vector. Yes, but I'm going. But the vector base too happens to be that no matter how big or small you make it, everything will stay the same. Where in Illustrator, if you blow it up or shrink it.
I found out this is all based on math, which is really interesting.
Yes,
I'm also going to disagree with that because if I was to take this head right now and blow it up, like where I filled in the black, it will actually start to stretch and you'll start seeing holes in it. Or if you shrink it down, it will bleed out.
Right. But if you did it correctly, which you would have.
So let me see if I understand this. The whole basis for vector-based drawing is that it's based on math. So no matter how much you shrink it or grow it, it'll look properly. But you broke the math.
I broke the math.
Right.
Because I don't math.
What I find fascinating is what you use here is making it thick and thin. Mm-hmm. That is a cool tool.
Yeah.
To have, because again, as a traditional inker, doing it with a brush, thick to thin, and then watching it do it on a computer, you almost get angry because it's just that, isn't it?
It's just that.
It's just a click and drag to make it thinner.
But again, it's being able to use the tool. Just as he said, he's been practicing on Illustrator, practice on Photoshop, and this is how he's able to get the inking done.
So it's not just a matter of like raising the levels, huh?
No,
not at all. But again, it's being able to use the tool how he does it.
Now, question: do you currently still use Illustrator when you have to ink?
Yes.
Okay.
Like there was an image I seen online that someone had drawn of like dogs as Marvel characters.
Right.
And one of them was a bulldog as Thanos.
Okay.
And so it's just like, that's a really cool image, but I don't know where I can get a high definition version of that.
Right.
So it's just like, I think I could be able to use Illustrator and try to trace it out to make like an image to go on a shirt.
Are you planning to steal this guy's art?
No, not even a little.
Are you planning to give it back to him and go, put this on a shirt for me and send it to me?
I was actually thinking about once I was done, if I was gonna find his name, contact him and say, can I use this to put on a shirt as for a gift?
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
What's it called?
Because that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, it's funny because I have a number of people who will offer me what I know is stolen material and stuff like that. Like, hey, do you want to watch this movie? Do you want to listen to this music? And I'm like, no. And I don't condemn anybody for pirating, but I won't partake of it myself.
You won't condone it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially since I'm trying to sell merchandise and stuff like that. But now, when you were doing the mark, was it just more out of practicing for yourself, or was it just what's it called? Because I don't remember us saying, "Hey, you inked the mark," or was that? I lost track of how that happened.
I did too, but it's definitely a practice thing.
Okay.
Because if I'm not doing it, I can't get better. Like there was like going to coloring when Wilson was working on War of the Independence. I hadn't been coloring for a while. We were just focusing on lettering. He got War of the Independence, and I forgot how to color.
So you had to reteach yourself how to color.
It was more like I had to do stuff just to get the muscle memory. So I'm trying to copy Wilson, and then it was just like I can't copy Wilson. I can't do this. So it's just like I'm gonna try something to get it done, and we'll see how it goes. It may not be as good as what you're doing. And then he cursed my name.
Was it better?
Yeah. No, it was different. It was differently better.
Let's just put that when I finish
Differently better.
Yeah.
Let's just put it this way: when I finished a page, I put on Facebook. It's like I finished a page, and it's like I was inherited by the ghost of Tom Chu. To which Tom responded, "I'm dead." Shout out to Tom Chu.
It is kind of funny because Tom has taught us a lot. Working
Would you
with
say
him,
Tom is the best colorist you know? I mean, personally, like, because you've met a bunch of colorists and stuff like that.
I've closely.
Hold on, we don't have to
watched-
tell him directly.
No. I'm saying
because his ego is big enough as it is. So
right, exactly. So
Tom, don't listen to this part.
but no, he should listen and share it with his friends. They talk about me, but not good things. Tom, because I've worked with Tom closely, I've seen his art progress. So there are things that he can do which are amazing, and what he did in Gaidojin, I think, is probably his best work. He's able. Exactly. It's the best work he's ever done. Now, I don't know, it's because I didn't look at all his other books. Gaidojin was the only book that I really looked at page by page. And, again, I've sent stuff back to him. It's like, okay, I need you to fix the following things or redo this. So the great thing about it is that he's willing to make those changes, and they look a lot better. So he probably is one of the best colorists that I've worked with. Almost a par to me, but he's taught me a lot.
Well,
But he's a vicious teacher too. So,
He doesn't yell at you, but he has a tone.
beats you with a bamboo stick.
He has a tone. I would rather get the beating with a bamboo stick than the tone that he gives you, like a disappointed dad. There have been times where he says, "Can you come over here for a minute?" And that's when he's going to point out all the stuff I did wrong on a page. And again,
and you're not smart enough to say no.
pretty much, because then it's like, but I was coloring before you were, you SOB. But again,
Now, here's an interesting thing. Can Tom marker color?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
Let's get him on the phone.
I haven't seen him. Tom, you're live on the air. I have not seen him marker color, but I'm almost sure he has the ability. He could draw, and I've seen him do sketches, but I don't think I've seen him do coloring at cons.
How much is left on this video, LJ?
It's at 12:53.
All right, so it's probably about a minute left. All right, so just try to keep that in mind. So I think it's interesting the fact that what's called, because like I bust Wilson's chops because Wilson's got a great cartoony style, and like whenever somebody else does anything better than him, I'm like, he starts to get angry and stuff like that, and I'm like, but you just go out and make your cartoons and make your strips and stuff like that. He's like, no, they did it better. I was like, well, fuck, just go have fun. And he gets angry. Well, I like this. I would never think to use a computer to make this effect, like to make it to digitally ink and stuff like that. I find this amazing.
I would never think to do that either.
Someone mentioned it to you. Or
someone said you could do that, and it was just like, the worst that can happen because without any knowledge, the worst, because it can look bad, but the worst that can happen at that point is I can make it look good, just by learning.
And I played around a little bit with Flash, more in the sense of try and create little mini GIFs and images for promotional stuff. And this does look very similar to Flash in the way that
they're both vector based.
Yeah, and it's interesting to me how similar to programs. Like if you can work with one, it's easier to learn the other stuff.
Okay, I'm saving, so we should wrap up.
What you should always do often is save. And that's the amazing thing about it, is like there are millions of ways to get to that end product. So, what's
the
right,
video's
what's
over.
wrong. I know, but just wrapping up, it's like everyone find a style you could do it.
Find your way to do it and just get it done.
Exactly.
All right, that's been another episode of Making Comics. I'm Eric.
I'm LJ.
And I'm Wilson.
See you all.
Bye-bye.